What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fabricate. In this episode, we're going to talk about weathering props. It could be props that you've bought or that you made. Doesn't matter. These, painting techniques pretty much are universal. In this episode, we are going to be weathering this hero shield from Zelda. So, we're going to make this look pretty awesome. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. The tools that we are going to need are, of course, a prop, something to mix your paint, some metallic silver, and regular black paint. I use folk art acrylics because they seem to work the best in my experience. Some paint brushes, a cup of water, and a small jar or another cup to mix your paint in besides the mixing tray. So first we are going to use our small jar or whatever you have to mix paint in besides the paint tray to make our black wash. Basically, black wash is a little bit of your black acrylic paint mixed with some water. You don't really want it to be too runny because you're actually going to be wiping it off with some paper towels, which I forgot to mention. You also need paper towels. Sorry. We're going to take our black acrylic paint and put it into our mixing jar. I'm going to put a pretty good amount because we've got a lot to cover here. And then you're going to want to take a little bit of water and mix it in there. Just very little. Like I said, you don't want it to be too runny because you want the paint to still be able to stick. That's good. You want the paint to still be able to stick, but you want to be able to wipe it off with a paper towel. Now, mix it together really well. I'm going to take the widest brush that I have and I'm going to dip it in here. And we want this to be like nice and thick. I'm actually going to try to mainly focus on colors. So I'm going to do the blue first and then I'll go back to the other ones, just because I don't want it to dry before I wipe it off. So now we're going to go in, like I said, I'm going to get all of the blue. Make sure you get into those creases really well. You got to do this pretty fast because, like I said, you're going to want to wipe it off before it dries too much, or else this is going to end up black. Which won't be that bad because, if I did it black like that, then it would end up being Darklink's shield. It would be kind of cool. Alright, so we've got all of our little nooks and crannies. We're going to take some paper towel and we're going to wipe this off. Wipe it off real good. You don't want there to be a lot... Oh, that was close. You don't want there to be a lot of black left. Now, if you can't get into those crevices and everything, that's fine because we actually want there to be black there. Because of how big this is, it's actually gonna take probably more than just this to do this. I'm gonna use some more paper towels. I've got an entire roll up here. Now, like I said, we're focusing mainly on the blue, but like you can see, I'm getting the silver. That's just because it's, it just happened. So actually, I'm changing it up a little bit and I'm just gonna do all of it. We're going to go back and add to this because I don't think that's as dark as I want it. But just make sure that when you're wiping this down, when you can see that I got it on other stuff, either wipe it off or wipe it down so that it looks decent because that's going to dry on there. So as you can see, it looks a little bit dirtier, a little bit more scuffed up. We are going to go back and we're going to add now to all of these parts. And I'm going to do these one at a time. You can see inside the Triforce, in the little crevices of the Triforce and everything, you can see that black paint still in there. I want that to dry that way because I want it to look like there's grime and dirt. Alright, so now the whole rim is black. We're going to go back and wipe some of it off. Black washing. I'm not sure if this is called black washing anywhere else. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I called it.
Now, as you can see, I am leaving this nice brushed metal look on it. All right, now, look at that. That looks really, really cool. I'm loving the way this is coming out. Now, don't forget the details. I have to get the sides on this. I don't want to forget that, and then, you know, it look weird later. So I know that you guys probably aren't all working on, you know, the hero's shield like I am, but the point is, don't forget the details. Now, we are not done. It looks dirty, yes, but I actually like to go in and add a little bit of detail with more black. This time I'm actually going to go ahead and use just straight up acrylic, black acrylic without the water. Let's pour a little bit, not going to do too much. And this is more of a dry brushing technique. So what you're going to need to do is take a paper towel. I'm going to dip my brush, make sure I get both sides of this, and then you're going to want to wipe a lot of it off. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to get more black here in these corners. Now, it looks weird right now, but then I'm going to go back and wipe it. And that is just to add a little bit more grit and dirt to these little crevices. Like I've been saying crevices a lot. I apologize. All right, so we're pretty much done with our black washing, weathering aspect of it. And now we are going to go ahead and add scratches and that kind of thing. You have to remember that this is supposed to be made of metal. Something that a lot of things, you know, in the state that it's in right now, it definitely looks like it's dirty. This looks like metal and everything, but the whole thing is metal. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some of my silver. I'm gonna get a pretty good amount of that in there. Nice. Take a brush. It's a pretty wide brush. It's not super wide, but I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. Okay. Now, this whole aspect, this whole part, we are going to dry brush. So dry brushing is just what we were doing with the black. You put a little bit of color on there, and then you wipe a lot of it off. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Then we are going to first go around all of the raised edges and do a little bit of wear. This is the stuff, these are the parts that are making the most contact with things. That's why that they would be, you know, getting worn the most. So you want to do that for pretty much every raised edge on here. This little like bump here, I'm gonna consider, you know, the fact that it's probably gonna make a lot of contact. So I want it to be pretty worn. Almost to the point where it doesn't really have any black on it. Another technique that you can do is you can take a piece of your paper towel, get a little bit of the paint, just dab it around some, and then make sure there's not too much on there, and then wipe it. This is what I'm going to use to do the techniques, the weathering and everything on the shield. Now it looks a little bit more worn, a little bit more scratched. It looks a little bit too random, so I'm going to go ahead and use some more of my black whitewash. Dry brush it off some, and then I'm going to do a little bit of this. Just kind of fading in some of those colors, mixing in some of those colors. Okay, so now we have a more weathered looking shield. Looks like it's gone through some battle, and it also looks like it actually looks a little bit more metallic. Now it looks better with our sword. They look like they fit together a little bit better. Obviously the blue on the sword is a little bit brighter than the blue on the shield, but like I said, I just repainted this one. You can go back in with some metallic blue if you'd like. I've got some metallic blue, and you can go back in there and kind of, you know, dry brush this on, which I'm going to go ahead and do right now. I like the dark look, but I want to show you guys how to brighten it up a little bit. Dry brush technique, remember? Now this just adds, I don't know if you can see it super well on here, but it just adds a little bit of a lighter blue and a little bit more blue back to that base that's been looking kind of dark. Okay, so now we've brought some blue back into that, some metallic blue. This is looking super cool. I'm super excited about this. It's coming out better than I thought. Another technique that I wanted to show you guys is dry brushing the metallic scratches and everything on here, just to get some more defined scratches without actually having to cut into it. And for that, you can get these cheap, like dollar store paintbrushes. Take a pair of scissors and cut up into them. So it's cutting it, but not, you know, just at a few different angles and stuff like that. You want to cut off some of these bristles and just make it super uneven. So now the paintbrush is all uneven and nasty looking. Not ideal for painting, except if you're using it for this application. We want to do the same thing we did before, get some silver. I'm actually going to put it in the middle of this mixing thing. And we are going to get this nice and saturated with the silver. A little bit on the sides. And then we're going to wash a little bit of it off. Just a little dry brushing there. And now you can run it across like this, and that is leaving these really cool looking, like, it's just random scratches and stuff. So it's probably best to do it on, you know, I'm just going to do it across the whole thing, but I'm going to do it in one direction. And there you have some more scratches and stuff, as you can see. And that's without having to actually kind of tear into it. You can get an X-Acto knife and just cut pieces out. I was thinking about doing that, but I couldn't find an X-Acto knife. That might be a good thing. And lastly, I'm just going to go in, add a little bit more of my black wash, doing the dry brushing technique in between here because I've got some silver that ended up in here and I don't really want that, so there's like silver droplets and stuff.
And here it is, our finished hero's shield from Zelda, all nice and weathered and just looking like it's been through some battle. And it pairs well with my weathered sword. So thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like this video and leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.